Let me share with you exactly what happens during these 3 days of transformed self-talk. The first day is often the most challenging, for you are going against every evidence of your senses. Your physical reality will still show you the old conditions, and your habitual self-talk will attempt to reassert itself. This is where most people fail. They allow what they see to dictate what they say to themselves. But I tell you this, your current circumstances are nothing more than your previous self-talk made visible. In the book of Hebrews, it is written, "Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear." Your self-talk is this very word of God that frames your world. Let me share with you the experience of a man who came to me seeking to transform his professional life. He had been stuck in a low-paid position for years, and his self-talk reflected this. I'm not qualified enough. Better opportunities are for others. I instructed him in this 3-day technique of self-talk. I instructed him in this 3-day technique of self-talk. For the first day, he was to speak to himself in a very specific way, not just arbitrary positive statements, but precise words that implied his desire was already fulfilled. When he looked in the mirror while dressing for work, instead of his habitual self-talk about another dreary day, he would say, "I love being executive vice president. My decisions create tremendous value for the company. My leadership inspires others." Throughout that first day, whenever his mind wandered to his current circumstances, he would gently bring it back by speaking to himself from the end. "I'm so grateful for my executive position. I handle these responsibilities with such ease. My contributions are highly valued and generously rewarded." The second day brings a subtle shift. Your new self-talk begins to feel more natural, less forced. This is a crucial point where many lose their way, thinking the technique isn't working because it's becoming effortless. But this very naturalness is the signal that your new self-talk is taking root in consciousness. During the second day, your self-talk should focus not just on statements of fact, but on the natural conversations you would have with yourself from your desired state. If you're manifesting perfect health, you don't need to constantly affirm, "I am healthy." Instead, your self-talk might be, "I love how easily I climb these stairs. This fresh energy feels wonderful. I enjoy choosing nutritious foods for my vibrant body." I recall a woman who was manifesting her ideal marriage. During her second date, she didn't just affirm, "I am happily married." Her self-talk became the natural internal dialogue of a beloved wife. "I love preparing our favorite dinner. Our evening walks together are so completely. It's wonderful sharing my life with someone who understands me so completely." The third day is where the magic truly unfolds, but it's also where many stumble because they are looking for external results. Remember, in the book of Genesis, God did not pause after each day of creation to check if it was working. The work was done in consciousness through the Word, and the manifestation followed naturally. On this third day, your self-talk must be maintained with complete indifference to external circumstances. If you're manifesting financial abundance and you check your bank account to find it unchanged, your self-talk must remain steady. I love how money flows to me from expected and unexpected sources. I enjoy choosing the finest things in life. It's wonderful having more than enough to share generously. Let me reveal to you something profound about these 3 days. They correspond to 3 states of consciousness: initiation, transition, and acceptance. Your self-talk must reflect and support each state. The first day initiates the new concept. The second day bridges the new state. As a businessman once asked me why his previous attempts at positive self-talk had failed. Upon examination, I discovered he was changing his words, but not his state of consciousness. He would say, "I am successful," while internally arguing with the statement. I taught him that true self-talk isn't about the words alone. It's about speaking from the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. Now, let me share with you the exact structure of self-talk that creates the most rapid transformation during these 3 days. Many attempt to change their lives through haphazard positive statements, but there is a specific pattern, a divine order to effective self-talk that most never discover. This pattern is revealed in Scripture, where it states, "Let there be, and there was, and God saw that it was good." This is your template for powerful self-talk during these 3 days. First, you declare what is to be. Then you acknowledge it as already existing. Finally, you express gratitude for its perfection. I want to give you a living example. A young doctor came to me, frustrated with his practice. His self-talk was filled with anxiety about patients, concerns about income, and doubts about his abilities. For 3 days, I instructed him to transform his self-talk following this divine pattern. Upon waking the first morning, his self-talk began. "My practice is thriving. Patients seek me out for my exceptional care. I am known for my remarkable results." Throughout the day, whenever his old patterns of anxious self-talk attempted to surface, he would immediately shift to, "I love how smoothly my practice runs. Every patient interaction is satisfying and successful. My expertise brings healing to all who come to me." But here's the crucial point about your self-talk during these 3 days. It must be specific to your own desires and natural to your own way of speaking. Don't copy another's words. Your self-talk must feel like you, must flow naturally from your own consciousness, must be in your own voice. In the Psalms, it is written, "Deep calleth unto deep." Your self-talk must come from the depths of your being, not from the surface of your mind. When you speak to yourself during these 3 days, let the words rise from the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. Consider a teacher who came to me desiring to become a successful author. Her self-talk had been filled with doubt. Who would read my book? I'm not a real writer. I'll never finish this manuscript. I showed her how to structure her self-talk for the 3-day transformation. Instead of general affirmations about being a successful author, her self-talk became specific and natural. I love how readers connect with my stories. It's wonderful seeing my books in major bookstores. I enjoy signing copies for my devoted readers. These weren't just positive statements. They were the natural thoughts and words of someone already living her desired reality. Here's another vital aspect of the 3-day transformation that few understand. Your self-talk must encompass all 3 time frames, morning, day, and night, but in a specific way. Your morning self-talk sets the tone for the day and must be done before engaging with the world. Your daytime self-talk maintains the state. Your nighttime self-talk maintains the subconscious mind for manifestation. Let me share with you the exact method for nighttime self-talk that produces the most powerful results. As you prepare for sleep, your self-talk should take the form of grateful reflection. What a wonderful day in my thriving practice. I love how easily everything flows. Tomorrow brings even more opportunities to serve and succeed. This nighttime pattern of self-talk is crucial because it's your last conscious impression before entering the sleep state. In scripture, it says, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction. Your nighttime self-talk is this very instruction being sealed in consciousness. A businessman who mastered this technique shared with me his experience. For 3 days, he maintained the most rigorous attention to his self-talk, especially during the drowsy state before sleep. His inner dialogue was consistently from the state of already being a successful entrepreneur. My business generates tremendous value. I love leading my team to greater achievements. Every decision I make creates positive results. By the 3rd morning, before any physical evidence appeared, he knew with absolute certainty that his world had shifted. His self-talk had transformed from effort to natural expression of his new state. When opportunities suddenly appeared that transformed his business, he recognized them as the inevitable manifestation of his 3 days of transformed self-talk. But here's something crucial about the 3-day transformation that most miss. You must maintain your new self-talk, even when circumstances seem to contradict it. In fact, contrary circumstances often appear during these 3 days as a test of your resolve. This is where most people falter, allowing external evidence to destruct their self-talk. Your self-talk must not only change in content, but in consciousness. The words themselves are merely the surface. It's the state from which they emanate that holds the true creative power. In the book of Matthew, it states, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. Your self-talk during these 3 days must flow from the heart, the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. This is why mechanical repetition of positive phrases fails to produce results. The words must be spoken from the consciousness of already being what you desire to be. I knew a woman who struggled with this principle until she grasped its essence. She desired to be a successful artist, but had never sold a painting. Her initial attempt at self-talk was mechanical. I am a successful artist. My paintings sell easily. But there was no transformation because she was speaking from her current state of lack. I taught her to first assume the consciousness of a successful artist, then let her self-talk flow naturally from that state. Her internal dialogue transformed. I love how collectors respond to my work. It's wonderful having my paintings in prestigious galleries. I enjoy deciding which exhibitions to participate in next. During these 3 days, your self-talk must reflect 3 levels of consciousness: being, having, and experiencing. Most people focus only on having, which is why their manifestations are temporary or never appear. Your self-talk must encompass all 3. Let me illustrate this principle. A man came to me desiring financial abundance. His self-talk had been focused entirely on having money. I have unlimited wealth. I showed him how to structure his self-talk to include all 3 levels. Being, I am financially wise. I am a masterful creator of wealth. Having, I have abundant resources. I have multiple streams of income. Experiencing, I love choosing the finest experiences in life. I enjoy sharing my abundance generously. This 3-level self-talk must be maintained consistently throughout the 3 days. Upon waking, your first thoughts should naturally flow from this expanded consciousness. Throughout the day, your internal dialogue should reflect all 3 levels. Before sleep, your final thoughts should encompass this complete state. Here's another crucial aspect of the 3-day transformation. Your self-talk must be in harmony with the law of assumption. In Scripture, it states, all things whatsoever ye pray and ask for, believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them. Your self-talk must come from the consciousness of already having received. Consider a man who wanted to transform his relationships. His habitual self-talk had been, I'm always alone. Nobody understands me. I'll never find true love. For 3 days, I instructed him to speak from the consciousness of already being in perfect relationships. I love how easily I connect with others. Every interaction enriches my life. My relationships are deep and meaningful. I attract exactly the right people into my life. My presence brings joy to others. I am surrounded by love and understanding. But here's the vital point. These words weren't chosen randomly. They flowed naturally from his assumed state of being someone who enjoys wonderful relationships. This is why your self-talk during these 3 days cannot be scripted by another. It must be the natural expression of your assumed state. Let me share with you the exact pattern of self-talk for each of the 3 days. The first day, Your self-talk establishes the new state. I am now the person I desire to be. The second day, your self-talk normalizes this state. This is my natural way of being. The third day, your self-talk expresses gratitude for the state. How wonderful to be living this reality. A woman who applied this pattern to transform her health shared her experience with me. Her first day's self-talk established her new state. I am radiantly healthy. Every cell in my body vibrates with vitality. Perfect health is my natural state. The second day normalized this state. I love how easily I maintain perfect balance. When I feel exhausted, I feel grateful to God. I feel grateful to God. My body knows exactly how to maintain perfect balance. I feel grateful to God. I state. She transformed her body ever since then. I doubtful myself as a professional, but I'm mentally On the third day, her self-talk expressed gratitude for her state. I'm so grateful for my perfect health. It's wonderful having this abundant energy. I appreciate how my body maintains perfect wellness effortlessly. By the end of the third day, she no longer needed to monitor her self-talk. It flowed naturally from her new state of consciousness. Now let me reveal to you the culminating secret of this 3-day transformation through self-talk. The completion of these 3 days is not marked by external changes, but by an internal shift so profound that you no longer need to monitor your self-talk, because it naturally flows from your new state of consciousness. In Ecclesiastes, it is written, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. These 3 days represent the season of transformation, but they must be followed by something most people neglect, the Sabbath of rest. After 3 days of conscious self-talk, you must rest in the conviction that the work is done. A remarkable example of this principle was demonstrated by a man who had struggled with poverty consciousness for decades. For 3 days, he maintained the most exquisite attention to his self-talk. Every word that passed through his mind reflected the consciousness of wealth. I am the embodiment of abundance. I live in the endless stream of prosperity. By the end of the third day, something profound had shifted. He no longer needed to remind himself to speak from wealth consciousness. It had become his natural state. His self-talk flowed effortlessly from this new consciousness. Which of my investments shall I explore today? How can I best utilize these abundant resources? What wonderful opportunities shall I explore next? This is the true test of successful transformation, when your self-talk no longer requires effort or monitoring, because it naturally reflects your new state of consciousness. Just as you don't need to remind yourself to speak as who you are now, your new self-talk becomes the natural expression of who you have become. Let me share with you the final key to maintaining this transformation beyond the 3 days. Your self-talk must now become what I call your natural assumption. When you pick up a telephone, you naturally assume it will work. When you sit in a chair, you naturally assume it will hold you. Your new state must be maintained with this same natural assumption. Consider carefully what I tell you now. After these 3 days, if you find yourself slipping back into old patterns of self-talk, do not fight them. Instead, gently remind yourself, that was the old man speaking. I have crossed the bridge to my new state. Then resume your natural self-talk from your desired state. Remember the words in Scripture. Put off the old man with his deeds and put on the new man. Your transformed self-talk is the language of this new man. It is not something you do. It is something you become. The 3 days are merely the gestation period for this new birth. Let me conclude with this vital truth. Your self-talk is not just words. It is the very substance of your world taking form. Every word you speak to yourself is a seed planted in the fertile soil of consciousness. These 3 days of transformed self-talk are your concentrated period of planting, but the harvest will continue indefinitely if you maintain the state. The power to transform your entire life lies in your self-talk, but not in the superficial way most people understand. It is not about forcing positive thoughts or fighting negative ones. It is about speaking from the consciousness of already being who you desire to be. 3 days of consistent, conscious self-talk from this new state will transform your world. I leave you with this challenge. Begin your 3 days now, not tomorrow, not when circumstances are better, but now. Speak to yourself from the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Maintain this new self-talk for 3 consecutive days. Watch as your world transformed to match your words. For it is written, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Your self-talk is this very power. Use it wisely, use it consistently, and use it now. The next 3 days can transform your entire life, if you will but speak to yourself from the consciousness of already being who you desire to be. The choice is yours, and the time is now. Your 3 days of transformation await. Begin this very moment to speak to yourself as the person you desire to be, and watch as your world reshapes itself to match your words. For this is the law, and this is the promise, and this is the power that has been given to you. Use it, prove it, and live it. The word is in your mouth and in your heart, ready to be spoken. Speak it now. Speak it with conviction, and speak it from the consciousness of fulfillment. Your 3-day journey to transformation begins with the very next words you speak to yourself. Make them count, make them powerful, and make them the truth you desire to experience. Let us begin with the fundamental law that governs all manifestation, the law of assumption. This law states simply that your outer world reflects your inner assumptions. What you believe to be true of yourself and your world must be made manifest in your experience. This is not a theory or a pleasant suggestion. It is an immutable law. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. These words from Proverbs contain the entire secret of successful living. Your consciousness, your concept of self, determines the world in which you live. The conditions, circumstances, and events of your life are but the outpicturing of your immanent beliefs. Many of you understand this intellectually, yet you continue to witness unwanted circumstances in your lives. Why is this so? It is because understanding alone is not enough. You must apply the law. And the application begins with detachment. The nature of detachment. What do I mean by detachment? Detachment is not indifference. It is not a cold withdrawal from life or a resignation to fate. Detachment, in its spiritual sense, is the recognition that you are not bound to your current circumstances, that you are not defined by your present conditions, and that you are free to assume a new state of consciousness regardless of appearances. Detachment means releasing your grip on the how and the when of your manifestation. It means surrendering the need to control the process by which your desire will be realized. This surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of spiritual strength. In the Bible we read, "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness is detachment. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that the creative power within you, your own wonderful human imagination, is God, and that this power, once directed consciously, will externalize your assumptions in ways that your rational mind cannot conceive. So many of you struggle because you cannot see the bridge of incidents that will lead to your desire. You worry and fret over the means, desperately seeking to manipulate external conditions. This very anxiety reveals your attachment to appearances, your bondage to what is. And as long as you remain bound to what is, you cannot experience what could be. The impediment of attachment. Attachment to outcomes, to specific means, to time frames, these are the chains that bind your creative power. When you insist that your desire must manifest in a particular way, you limit the infinite intelligence of God within you. You say, in effect, "I know better than the divine wisdom how my good should come to me." Think of the farmer who plants a seed and then digs it up each day to see if it is growing. Such impatience and lack of faith in the natural process will prevent any harvest. Similarly, when you plant the seed of desire in your consciousness and then constantly unearth it through doubt, worry, and attachment to results, you interrupt the divine process of manifestation. I tell you truly, the entire universe conspires to fulfill your demanded assumptions. But this fulfillment comes through a bridge of incidents that your rational mind cannot and need not construct. Your work is not to build the bridge. Your work is to assume the end, the fulfillment, and to live in that assumption while the bridge builds itself. The process of letting go. Now, let us discuss the practical process of letting go. How does one detach from circumstances while remaining committed to a desire? The secret lies in what I call living in the end. To let go is to transfer your attention from the problem to the solution, from the lack to the fulfillment. It is to dwell mentally in the state of wish fulfilled, regardless of appearances. This dwelling is not a momentary visualization, but a sustained assumption. When you truly let go, you no longer feel the need to check on the status of your manifestation. You no longer feel anxiety about when or how it will appear. You rest in the comfortable certainty that what you have assumed in consciousness must objectify itself in your world. Consider the words of Scripture: whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. This is the essence of letting go. You pray, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you believe, live from that state as if it were already externalized, and then it manifests, becomes objectifying your world. The great obstacle to successful manifestation is the tendency to constantly check whether your desire has manifested. This checking is evidence of doubt, and doubt is a confession of attachment to current reality. To overcome this tendency, you must discipline your imagination to dwell exclusively in the end, in the state of fulfillment. The mental diet. This discipline requires what I call a mental diet. Just as you would carefully monitor what food you put into your physical body if you wish to maintain health, so must you monitor what thoughts you entertain in your mental body if you wish to manifest your desires. The mental diet consists of systematically rejecting any thought that contradicts your assumption of fulfillment. When doubts arise, and they will, you do not fight them or resist them, for what you resist persists. Instead, you simply withdraw your attention from the doubt and place it back on the assumption of fulfillment. This practice requires vigilance. The world is filled with evidence that will seem to contradict your assumption. Friends and family may tell you that your desire is impossible. Circumstances may appear to move in the opposite direction of your wish. In these moments, you must maintain your mental diet most rigorously. Remember The natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him. The natural man is your senses, your rational mind that accepts current reality as final. The Spirit of God is your imagination, which can conceive of realities that transcend current appearances. You must choose which you will serve, focusing on your own path. Now we come to the third aspect of our discussion, focusing on your own path. This is perhaps the most challenging aspect of manifestation, for the world is filled with distractions, with comparisons, with the opinions and judgments of others. To focus on your own path is to recognize that your journey is unique. Your desires, your timing, your bridge of incidents cannot be compared to anyone else's. The moment you begin to compare your progress with others, you have strayed from your path. There's a wonderful passage in the Gospel of John. After Peter had received instructions from the risen Christ, he turned and saw John following them. Peter asked Jesus, "Lord, what about him?" Jesus replied, "If I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? You follow me." This is one of the most direct instructions concerning the need to focus on your own path. What is that to you? You follow me. These words apply to each of us. The path of another, their success, their timing, their method is irrelevant to your journey. Your task is to follow the Christ within you, the God self that speaks through your desires and guides you through your imagination. When you focus on others, comparing your progress, seeking their approval, fearing their judgment, you divert precious creative energy away from your manifestation. Every ounce of attention given to the opinion of others is an ounce taken from the assumption of your wish fulfilled. The correlation between detachment, letting go, and focus. These three principles, detachment, letting go, and focusing on your own path, are not separate techniques, but different aspects of the same spiritual practice. Each reinforces and enables the others. When you truly detach from current circumstances, you naturally let go of anxiety about results. When you let go of anxiety about results, you find it easier to focus on your own path without comparing yourself to others. And when you focus on your own path without comparison, you strengthen your detachment from external validation. This virtuous cycle creates a state of consciousness that is optimally receptive to manifestation. It clears away the obstacles that have prevented the externalization of your desires. It aligns your creative power with your conscious intentions, the true nature of reality. To fully embrace these principles, you must understand the true nature of reality. The world you experience is not an objective, independent reality separate from your consciousness. It is the outpicturing of your assumptions, the projection of your beliefs. The universe is mental, declares the Hermetic principle. All that you experience is created first in consciousness and then projected outward as experience. This means that to change your world, you need not manipulate external conditions. You need only change your assumptions. This is the great liberation. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. You are not subject to the whims of fate, but the author of your destiny. The power to transform your life lies not in coincidence, but in controlling your assumptions about yourself and your world. The practice of revision. Now I wish to share with you a powerful technique for detachment and letting go, the practice of revision. Revision is the art of reimagining past events in a way that aligns with your desired self-concept and life experience. At the end of each day, before you sleep, review the events that were unsatisfactory or that contradicted your desired state. In your imagination, revise these events. See them playing out differently in a way that aligns with your wish fulfilled. If someone was unkind to you, imagine them being courteous and respectful. If you failed at a task, imagine yourself succeeding brilliantly. If you received bad news, imagine receiving good news instead. This practice is not mere wishful thinking or denial of reality. It is the conscious application of the creative power of your imagination to rewrite the impressions in your subconscious mind. Since your subconscious accepts as true whatever you impress upon it, revision allows you to replace limiting impressions with empowering ones. Through consistent revision, you gradually detach from the limiting story of your past and create a new foundation for your future. You let go of grievances, disappointments, and failures, replacing them with experiences that support your new self-concept. the inner conversation. Another powerful practice for detachment and focusing on your path is to monitor and revise your inner conversation. Your inner conversation, the things you say to yourself, and the imaginary conversations you have with others, reveals and reinforces your true assumptions. Most people's inner conversations are filled with worries, justifications, rehearsals of grievances, and defenses against imagined criticisms. These mental dialogues keep them bound to unwanted circumstances and diverted from their true path. To transform your life, transform your inner conversation. Imagine hearing the congratulations of friends on your success. Imagine discussing your achievement as a fait accompli. Imagine the conversations that would follow naturally if your desire were already fulfilled. As you discipline your inner conversation, you will find that detachment becomes easier. You will naturally let go of anxiety about results because your mental world is already filled with the evidence of fulfillment. You will focus more easily on your own path because your inner dialogue affirms your unique journey rather than comparing it to others. The Sabbath rest. There comes a point in the manifestation process where all the work is done. You have planted the seed of assumption. You have nourished it with attention. You have protected it through mental diet. And now it must grow of its own accord. This is what I call the Sabbath rest. In the Bible, God created for 6 days and rested on the seventh, declaring his work complete and good. This is a pattern for all creation, including the creation of your desires in manifestation. There comes a time to rest, to cease all effort, to simply know that it is done. This Sabbath state is the highest form of detachment. It is the absolute confidence that your creative work is complete in consciousness and must now objectify itself in experience. In this state, there is no anxiety, no checking, no effort to make it happen. There is only the quiet knowing that what has been planted must come to harvest. Many miss their manifestations because they cannot enter this Sabbath rest. They continue to work, to effort to manipulate conditions long after the creative act is complete. This continued effort implies doubt, and doubt negates the assumption of fulfillment. Learn to recognize when your work is done in consciousness. Learn to say, as the Christ within you says, it is finished. Then rest in that knowing, detached from appearances, letting go of control, focus solely on the truth established in your imagination. The testing of faith, the period between the planting of your assumption and its visible manifestation, is a testing of faith. During this interval, appearances may contradict your assumption. Doubts may arise. Others may question your certainty. These tests are not obstacles, but opportunities to strengthen your new consciousness. Each time you choose your assumption over appearances, you deepen your faith. Each time you detach from discouraging circumstances, you strengthen your creative power. Each time you let go of anxiety about results, you accelerate the manifestation process. Remember the words of Scripture, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith, your persistent assumption that it is a means to acquire your desire. It is the substance of the desire itself, already present in consciousness, awaiting externalization. When doubts arise, do not fight them or fear them. Simply recognize them as remnants of your old consciousness, the consciousness you are transcending through your new assumption. Then gently but firmly return to your assumption, knowing that what you are conscious of being, you must become. The divine indifference. There is a state of consciousness that I call divine indifference. This is not apathy or lack of interest in your desires. It is the serene knowing that your assumption, once firmly established in consciousness, must manifest regardless of appearances or time frames. Divine indifference allows you to pursue your daily activities without anxiety, without constantly checking for evidence, without the inner tension that comes from attachment to outcomes. It is the ability to live contentedly in the present moment while knowing that your future is secure in your assumption. This state might be described as earnest expectancy without anxiety. You are expectant because you know the law must fulfill your assumption. You are without anxiety because you know the law must fulfill your assumption. The certainty removes the need for concern. When you achieve this divine indifference, you will find that manifestations come more easily and more frequently. The very detachment accelerates the process, for it removes the resistance caused by doubt, worry, and overattention. The naturalness of your desire. Another key to successful detachment is to recognize the naturalness of your desire. Your desires are not random whims or egoic fantasies. They are the voice of God within you, calling you to express more of your divine nature, to experience more of the abundance that is your birthright. When you see your desires in this light, detachment becomes easier. You no longer feel that you are grasping for something beyond your desert or fighting against the order of things. You recognize that the fulfillment of your desire is as natural as the blooming of a flower or the rising of the sun. This recognition eliminates the sense of struggle that accompanies so many people's manifestation efforts. You need not fight for your good. You need only align your consciousness with it through assumption. You need not force your desire into being. You need only provide the conditions in consciousness for its natural unfoldment. As Jesus said, consider the lilies of the field, how they grow, they toil not, neither do they spin. The lily does not strain to become a lily. It simply unfolds according to its nature. Similarly, your desires unfold naturally when you align your consciousness with their fulfillment. The state akin to sleep. There is a particular state of consciousness that facilitates detachment and the impregnation of your subconscious with new assumptions. I call this the state akin to sleep, a drowsy, receptive state where the rational mind is temporarily quieted and the subconscious is especially receptive to suggestion. In this state, which you can enter just before sleep, upon awakening, or through deliberate relaxation during the day, your imagination has direct access to the subconscious. The images and feelings you entertain in this state are accepted without the interference of the rational mind's doubts and objections. Use this state to impress your desire upon the subconscious. Feel yourself into the state of wish fulfilled. Experience in imagination the joy and gratitude of having what you desire. Then allow yourself to drift into sleep or to return to normal consciousness, knowing that the seed has been planted. This practice, performed consistently, will gradually transform your dominant assumptions about yourself and your world. As your assumptions change, your experience must change to match them. This is the law, the freedom of consciousness. The ultimate secret of detachment is the recognition that you are pure consciousness. You are not your body, your circumstances, your history, or your possessions. You are the awareness in which all these things appear. This recognition is liberation. When you know yourself as consciousness rather than content, you can change the content at will. You are no longer bound to any particular set of circumstances because you recognize that circumstances are projections of your assumptions, not independent realities. From this perspective, detachment is not something you do, it is the recognition of what you are. You are naturally detached from all conditions because you are the consciousness in which conditions appear, not the conditions themselves. This is the meaning of Jesus' statement, be in the world, but not of the world. To be in the world is to participate in the experiences of human life. To be not of the world is to recognize that you transcend these experiences, that you are the consciousness that witnesses and creates them. The practice of I am. To strengthen this recognition of your true nature, practice what I call the I am meditation. Set aside time each day to sit quietly and focus on the feeling of pure existence, the feeling of I am. Before you identify with any particular attribute or condition, before you say I am rich or I am poor, I am successful or I am failing, there is the pure awareness of being. This awareness is your true self, your God self. As you rest in this awareness, you naturally detach from limiting conditions. You recognize that all descriptors that follow I am are assumptions that you are free to change. You are not inherently any particular condition. You are the consciousness that assumes conditions. From this state of pure awareness, you can then consciously choose the assumptions that will shape your experience. You can say with full conviction, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am fulfilled, knowing that these statements define your consciousness and therefore must define your experience. The transformation of identity. Manifestation at its core is not about acquiring things or changing circumstances. It is about transforming your identity, your concept of self. When your self-concept changes, your world must change to reflect it. Most people try to change their lives by manipulating external conditions while maintaining the same self-concept. This is why their efforts so often fail. The external always conforms to the internal. Your circumstances are the shadow cast by your concept of self. To create lasting change, you must adopt a new identity. You must see yourself as the person who already has what you desire, who already is what you wish to be. This identity shift is the essence of assumption. When you truly assume a new identity, detachment from old conditions happens naturally. You no longer worry about how or when your desire will manifest, because in consciousness, from the perspective of your new identity, it has already manifested. You are simply waiting for the outer to catch up with the inner. The persistence of assumption. The final key to successful manifestation is persistence in your assumption. This does not mean effortful striving or constant affirmation. It means returning to your assumption whenever you become aware that your thoughts have strayed from it. Your old beliefs and assumptions have momentum. They have been reinforced over years or decades of thinking, and they will not be replaced by a single session of imagining. You must persist in your new assumption until it becomes as natural and habitual as your old assumption once was. This persistence is not a burden, but a practice. Like learning any new skill, it requires attention at first, but eventually becomes second nature. There will come a time when your new assumption is so deeply established that you no longer need to consciously maintain it. It will have become your dominant belief, your natural way of being. Until that time, gently but firmly return to your assumption whenever you notice that your thoughts or feelings contradict it. Do not chastise yourself for lapses. Simply correct your course. The more consistently you maintain your assumption, the sooner it will manifest in experience. Conclusion, the promise fulfilled. My dear friends, I have shared with you tonight the great secret of manifestation: detachment, letting go, and focusing on your own path. This secret is not new. It has been taught by spiritual masters throughout the ages in various forms and languages. Jesus taught it when he said, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Buddha taught it when he identified attachment as the source of suffering and detachment as the path to liberation. Krishna taught it in the Bhagavad Gita when he instructed Arjuna to perform his duty without concern for the fruits of his action. This teaching transcends all religious and philosophical boundaries because it is not a belief but a law, as immutable as gravity. When you assume a state in consciousness and detach from appearances, that state must objectify itself in your experience. This is not magic or mysticism. It is the creative process by which all experience comes into being. I challenge you to test this law in your own life. Select a desire, something you truly want to be, do, or have. Formulate a clear assumption that would be true if this desire were fulfilled. Then live from that assumption while detaching from appearances, letting go of anxiety about results, and focusing on your own path without comparison to others. Do this consistently, and I promise you that your assumption must harden into fact. The seed planted in consciousness must grow into manifestation. The word spoken in the silence of assumption must become flesh in the world of form. Remember always, all things are possible to him that believeth. Your belief, your assumption maintained with detachment and persistence, is the creative power that shapes your world. Use this power consciously, and there are no limits to what you can create in your life. Go now in peace, dwelling in the certainty that your desires are already fulfilled in consciousness and must by law externalize themselves in your experience. God bless you, my friends, and remember, imagination creates reality. The greatest secret, the most profound truth about how God introduces you to your soulmate is this: God does not introduce you to your soulmate at all, for God is you, and you are already creating this divine union in your imagination, whether you realize it or not. the true nature of God and your imagination. Let me begin by clarifying what I mean when I speak of God. I am not referring to some external deity sitting on a throne in the distant heavens, manipulating the circumstances of your life according to some mysterious plan. No. When I speak of God, I am referring to the divine presence that dwells within you, your own wonderful human imagination. Your imagination is God in action. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word here is not some abstract concept, but the internal conversation you carry on with yourself day after day. It is this inner conversation, this use of your divine imagination, that is creating every circumstance in your life, including the arrival of your soulmate. You see, most people have it entirely backward. They believe that God, some external force, will somehow orchestrate the perfect meeting with their ideal partner when the time is right. They wait and they pray and they hope, looking outward for signs, when all along the creative power lies within them. They are waiting for a God outside themselves to perform an act that only the God within them, their own wonderful human imagination, can perform. The LA and the promise. There are two aspects to this divine operation, what I call the law and the promise. The law is this: imagining creates reality. Whatever you assume to be true, whatever you feel to be real while in a state akin to sleep, that is, while your attention is focused exclusively on your inner world, must objectify itself in your outer world. This is not some metaphysical speculation, but a principle as reliable as gravity. It cannot fail. The promise is that you will awaken to the realization that you are God, the sole creator of your life experience. When it comes to your soulmate, both the law and the promise are at work. Through the law, you can manifest the specific relationship your heart desires. Through the promise, you will eventually realize that this outer relationship is but a reflection of an inner union that has already taken place. The creative power of imagination. Now let us explore how this creative power, your imagination, actually works to bring your soulmate into your life. Most people think that what they observe in their world is the cause of what they feel. They believe that when they finally meet the right one, then they will feel loved, complete, fulfilled. But this is completely backward. Feeling is the secret. Feeling is not the result of having found your soulmate. Feeling is the cause that brings your soulmate to you. Let me repeat that. Feeling is not the effect, feeling is the cause. You must first generate within yourself the feeling that would naturally follow having already met and united with your soulmate. You must live from the end. What does it feel like to be in the perfect relationship? Is it a feeling of security, of passion, of being completely understood, of peaceful companionship? Whatever that feeling is for you, you must capture it and dwell in it, knowing that this feeling is the creative force that will rearrange the circumstances of your life to match it. But you might ask, Neville, how can I feel that which has not yet happened? And I would answer, your imagination is the bridge. Through the controlled use of your imagination, you can experience now what your senses deny. This is the true meaning of faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, living from the end. Here is the practical application of what I am telling you tonight as you lie in your bed. Quiet your mind and body until you reach that drowsy, sleepy state just before sleep claims you. In this state, construct a scene that implies you have already found and united with your soulmate. Perhaps you imagine lying beside them, feeling their presence, their warmth. Perhaps you imagine introducing them to a friend or family member, hearing yourself say, I'd like you to meet my husband, wife. Perhaps you imagine celebrating an anniversary, looking back on years of joy spent together. Whatever scene you choose, it must imply that the relationship is already a fact. And as you construct this scene, involve all your senses. Feel the warmth of their embrace, hear their voice, smell their scent, see their smile. Make it as real as possible in your imagination. And most importantly, capture and intensify the feeling that this scene evokes within you. Then, as you drift off to sleep, carry this feeling with you. Let it be the last thing in your consciousness that sleep claims you. For it is this feeling impressed upon your subconscious mind that will work night and day to bring about its physical equivalent in your world, the Sabbath. And once you have performed this imaginative act, you must enter what the Bible calls the Sabbath. The Sabbath is not a day of the week, but a state of consciousness. It is a state of complete rest, where you cease from all effort, knowing that what you have imagined must come to pass. To enter the Sabbath means to live as though your desire has already been fulfilled. You don't continue to ask or beg or plead for your soulmate to appear, for that would imply they are absent. Instead, you give thanks for their presence in your life, even though your senses may not yet confirm it. This is perhaps the most difficult part for most people. They perform the imaginative act, and then they look to the world for confirmation. When they don't see immediate results, they become anxious, doubtful, and begin the whole process again, never allowing the seed they have planted to grow to full manifestation. But I tell you this, God's promises are yes and amen. What you have conceived in your imagination with feeling must objectify itself in your world. It is law, but you must give it time to unfold according to its own pattern, its own rhythm. You must remain faithful to your imaginative act, persisting in the assumption that what you have imagined is already done. Your inner conversations. Now, let me speak about something that many of you may not have considered: your inner conversations. Throughout the day, you are constantly talking to yourself, carrying on internal dialogues. These inner conversations are powerful creative forces. When it comes to your soulmate, what is the nature of your inner conversation? You tell yourself, I'll never find the right person. You rehearse past disappointments and project them into your future. Do you constantly question why you are still alone? If so, you are using your creative power, the God within you, to perpetuate the very state you wish to escape. Instead, revise your inner conversation to align with your desire. Speak to yourself as though your soulmate is already part of your life. Let your inner voice say, I am so grateful for the love we share, or how wonderful it is to be so perfectly matched. Make these new thought patterns a habit, and you will be amazed at how quickly your external reality begins to shift. Remember, your consciousness is the only reality. The world you experience is simply consciousness objectified. Change your consciousness through your controlled imagination and revised inner conversations, and you change your world. The bridge of incidents. Now, when you have properly impressed your subconscious mind with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, a bridge of incidents will form to lead you to the physical realization of your desire. This bridge of incidents is a series of apparently causally connected events that lead to the manifestation of your desire. You need not be concerned with how this bridge will form. That is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is only to remain faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The infinite intelligence within you, which is God, knows how to bring about the perfect circumstances to unite you with your soulmate. It may not happen in the way you expect. In fact, it rarely does. You may meet this person in the most unlikely place, under the most unusual circumstances. What appears to be a chance encounter will be revealed in retrospect as part of an intricate and perfect plan that was set in motion the moment you impressed your subconscious mind with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is how God, your own wonderful human imagination, introduces you to your soulmate. Not through external manipulation of events, but through the internal manipulation of consciousness, which then objectifies itself as the perfect series of events leading to your divine union. Recognizing your soulmate. Many wonder how they will recognize their soulmate when they appear. They fear they might miss the divine appointment or mistake someone else for their true match. But I tell you this, when you have properly used your imagination to impress the feeling of the wish fulfilled upon your subconscious mind, recognition will be automatic and mutual. For what you are really doing through this process is not so much attracting a specific person as you are attracting a specific state of consciousness, as you dwell in the feeling of having already found your perfect match. You are vibrating at the frequency of that fulfilled relationship. And only someone who is vibrating at that same frequency can come into your experience as a permanent fixture. This is why false relationships so often fail. When we try to make someone fit our idea of the perfect partner without having first established within ourselves the consciousness of the perfect relationship, We are working against the law, not with it. Your soulmate is not so much a specific individual as they are the perfect embodiment of the state of consciousness you have established within yourself. Change your consciousness, and you change who can appear in your world as a match. The naturalness of the process. I want to emphasize the naturalness of this process. When you have successfully impressed your subconscious mind with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the manifestation of your soulmate will unfold in the most natural way imaginable. There will be no strain, no struggle. It will not feel like a miracle, though in retrospect, you may marvel at the perfect orchestration of events that brought you together. This is because the outer world is a mirror reflecting back to you your own consciousness. When your consciousness is filled with the feeling of having already found your soulmate, the mirror must reflect that back to you in the form of an actual relationship. It cannot do otherwise, for that is the law. So do not look for signs or omens or synchronicities. Do not try to force meetings or manipulate circumstances. Simply dwell in the consciousness of the wish fulfilled and let the law do its perfect work. The signs and synchronicities will come of their own accord as confirmation, not as causes of the manifestation that is already underway. The importance of self-love. Now, there is an aspect of this process that is often overlooked but is absolutely crucial: self-love. For the state of consciousness that manifests your soulmate must include a deep and abiding love for yourself. Without this foundation, no lasting union is possible. Many seek a soulmate to fill a void within themselves, to complete what they perceive as lacking. But I tell you, from the state of lack, you can only create more lack. It is only from the state of wholeness that you can create a whole and fulfilling relationship. So before you enter into the imagination session I described earlier, first establish within yourself a feeling of self-completeness. Recognize that the God within you, your own wonderful human imagination, is the source of all love, all fulfillment. You are not seeking someone to complete you. You are seeking someone with whom to share your completeness. This shift in consciousness is subtle but profound. It changes the entire vibration of your being and attracts a completely different quality of relationship than the one sought from a place of lack or need. Revision of the past. For some of you, past relationships have left scars that make it difficult to imagine and feel the reality of a fulfilling soulmate connection. If this is the case, you must use the principle of revision to heal these wounds. Revision is the art of mentally rewriting past events to align with your desires. Before you can effectively impress upon your subconscious mind the feeling of a perfect soulmate relationship, you may need to revise the memories that contradict this new assumption. Each night before you enter into your imagination session focused on your soulmate, take a few moments to revise any painful relationship memories. Reimagine them as you wish they had happened. Feel the relief, the joy, the closure that comes with this revised version. Do this consistently, and you will find that the emotional charge of these memories begins to fade, making room for your new assumptions about love and partnership to take root. The divine timing. Many of you may be wondering about timing. When will my soulmate appear? Is a question I hear often. But I must tell you that time is a concept that exists only in the world of effects, not in the world of causes. In the realm of imagination, which is the causal realm, there is no time. There is only the state of consciousness that you occupy. The appearance of your soulmate in your physical reality is subject to what the Bible calls the fullness of time. This means that the manifestation will occur when all the necessary components have aligned, when your consciousness is stable in the assumption of the wish fulfilled, when the bridge of incidents has been properly constructed, and when both you and your soulmate are vibrating at frequencies that allow for the divine union. This is not to say that manifestation must take a long time. I have witnessed cases where soulmates have appeared within days of a successful imaginative act. I have also seen cases where the manifestation took months or even years. The variable is not God's willingness to grant your desire for God. Your own wonderful human imagination has already granted it the moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The variable is your ability to maintain that assumption consistently, without contradiction, until it hardens into fact. Testing the LRO. Well, I encourage you to test this law for yourself. Do not take my word for it. The Bible says, taste and see that the Lord is good. Experience for yourself the creative power of your own imagination. Tonight, as you lie in bed, construct the scene that implies you have already found and united with your soulmate. Feel the reality of it. Fall asleep in that feeling. Do this for 30 consecutive nights without wavering, without looking for results, simply as an experiment in consciousness. At the end of those 30 days, you will have planted a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind that must, by law, grow into the manifestation of your desire. And as you go through your days, revise your inner conversations to align with this new assumption. Speak to yourself as though your soulmate is already part of your life. Then release all anxiety about when or how they will appear. Enter the Sabbath, that state of complete rest, in the knowledge that what you have in mind must come to pass. Live as though your desire is already fulfilled. For in the realm of imagination, which is the only reality it is, the transformation of consciousness. What I am describing to you is not just a technique for manifesting a soulmate. It is a complete transformation of consciousness. As you apply these principles to this specific desire, you will find that your entire life begins to transform. For you cannot dwell in the consciousness of being loved, cherished, and perfectly matched without that consciousness spilling over into all areas of your life. Your relationships with family and friends will improve. Your work will become more fulfilling. Your health may even show signs of improvement. This is because you are aligning with the truth of your being that you are God, expressing as the specific individual you perceive yourself to be. This transformation of consciousness is the real miracle, far more significant than the appearance of any specific person in your life. For when you realize that you are the operant power in your world, that your imagination creates reality, you are free from victim consciousness forever. You no longer see yourself as subject to external forces, waiting for fate or chance to bring you what you desire. You recognize yourself as the author of your experience, the creator of your destiny. And from this elevated state of consciousness, your soulmate appears not as someone who will save you or complete you, but as the perfect reflection of the divine love you have awakened within yourself. This is the true divine union, not the union of two incomplete halves, but the union of two whole beings who recognize in each other the God that they themselves are. The persistence of faith. I must speak now about the importance of persistence, for many of you will begin this practice with great enthusiasm, only to abandon it when results do not immediately appear. This is the pattern I have observed in countless students over the years. They start with conviction but lack the persistence to see their desires through to manifestation. Faith is not a momentary surge of belief. It is the persistent occupation of the desired state. It is the unwavering confidence that what you have imagined and felt as real in your imagination must objectify itself in your physical reality. This kind of faith is rare, but it is the key to successful manifestation. When doubts arise, and they will arise, do not fight them or deny them. Simply observe them, and then gently return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Each time you successfully return to that feeling despite contrary evidence, you strengthen the impression on your subconscious mind, bringing the manifestation closer. Remember the story of the fig tree in the Bible. Jesus cursed it, and it appeared unchanged. But he did not doubt his word. He continued on his way, confident that what he had decreed must come to pass. And when they passed by the fig tree again, it had withered from the roots. This is the model of perfect faith, speaking the word and then proceeding in the absolute confidence that it will manifest regardless of appearances. The role of gratitude. As you walk this path toward the manifestation of your soulmate, let gratitude be your constant companion. Gratitude is the highest vibration, the most magnetic attitude of mind. When you are grateful for your soulmate before they physically appear, you are functioning at the highest spiritual level. Each night as you perform your imaginative scene, concluded with deep and sincere gratitude. Thank God, your own wonderful human imagination, for having already granted your desire. Feel the gratitude that naturally accompanies the receipt of something precious and long desired. This attitude of gratitude accelerates manifestation because it affirms that what you have imagined is already yours. It closes the gap between your desire and its fulfillment, bringing them together in the eternal now. The signs following. Although I have cautioned you against looking for signs, it is natural that as your manifestation approaches physical realization, certain signs will begin to appear. You may find yourself randomly thinking about love and relationships more often. You may notice happy couples everywhere you go. You may even have dreams of your soulmate before you meet them physically. These signs are not the cause of your manifestation, but the effects of your changed consciousness. They are confirmations that the bridge of incidents is under construction. Welcome them, but do not become attached to them. They are signposts along the way, not the destination itself. And when your soulmate does appear in your life, it will seem so natural, so perfect, that you may temporarily forget the imaginative work you did to bring them to you. This too is part of the process. For the law works best when it seems not to be working at all, when manifestation appears to be the result of natural causes rather than spiritual law. But in quiet moments of reflection, you will recognize the truth that this divine union was orchestrated not by some external deity, but by the God within you, your own wonderful human imagination. And in this recognition lies a power and a freedom beyond anything you have previously known. The perfection of the Allah. I want to address a concern that many have expressed to me over the years. They worry that if they use their imagination to manifest a specific type of person as their soulmate, they might somehow interfere with free will or divine order. But this concern is based on a misunderstanding of the law. The law of assumption does not override anyone's free will. It simply draws to you the people and circumstances that align with your state of consciousness. Your soulmate is drawn to you by the same law that draws you to them. Their appearance in your life is as much their manifestation as it is yours. This is the perfect operation of divine law. You are not forcing anyone to be with you against their will. You are simply aligning yourself with the state of consciousness in which your soulmate is already present. And from that state, the law works to bring together those who are vibrating at compatible frequencies. So release all concerns about interfering with the natural order. There is no order more natural than that established by your own divine imagination. Trust in the perfection of the law and allow it to work its wonders in your life. The evolution of the relationship. Now, once your soulmate has appeared in your life, the work of imagination does not cease. For relationships are dynamic, evolving entities. The same law that brings you together will keep you in harmony and deepen your connection as you continue to use your imagination constructively. If challenges arise, as they do in even the most divinely orchestrated unions, return to your imagination. Construct scenes that imply the resolution of these challenges. Feel the relief, the renewed harmony and understanding. Fall asleep in this feeling and watch as your relationship transforms to match your imagined state. This ongoing use of imagination is the secret to a relationship that continues to grow and thrive through the years. For the law never ceases to operate. What you continue to imagine and feel as real will continue to objectify itself in your experience. The ultimate revelation. And now I come to the ultimate revelation about how God introduces you to your soulmate. The greatest secret is this: your soulmate is not outside you, but within you. The relationship you seek in the external world is but a reflection of a union that must first be consummated within your own being. In the deepest spiritual sense, your soulmate is your own divine nature seeking expression through relationship. The love you seek is your own love, reflected back to you through another. The companionship you desire is communion with the God within you, made tangible in the form of another person. When you fully realize this truth, you understand that the purpose of the soulmate relationship is not merely personal happiness, but spiritual awakening. Through the mirror of relationship, you come to know yourself as God, the creator of your reality. This is the ultimate purpose of all manifestation, all desire. So as you lie in bed tonight, constructing your scene that implies you have already found and united with your soulmate, know that you are doing far more than manifesting a relationship. You are participating in the greatest spiritual adventure possible, the discovery of your true divine nature through the perfect deflection of love. Conclusion, the promise fulfilled. I have shared with you tonight the law by which God, your own wonderful human imagination, introduces you to your soulmate. I have given you the practical steps to apply this law in your life. But beyond the law lies the promise that you will awaken to the realization that you are God, expressing as the specific individual you perceive yourself to be. This awakening is the true purpose of all desire, all manifestation. Your desire for a soulmate is not merely a human longing for companionship. It is the divine within you seeking to know itself through relationship. As you use your imagination to manifest your soulmate, you are participating in this greater spiritual purpose. And when you look into the eyes of your beloved and recognize there the God that you yourself are, the circle is complete. The promise is fulfilled. You have not only found your soulmate, you have found yourself. You have experienced the truth of the ancient teaching, I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. This is the ultimate revelation about how God introduces you to your soulmate. God does not introduce you to someone outside yourself. God, your own wonderful human imagination, reveals to you the love that you are through the perfect mirror of relationship. Tonight, as you retire to your bed, remember that you are engaging in the most divine activity possible, the activity of creation. Through your imagination, you are bringing into being not just a relationship, but a new state of consciousness, a new understanding of who and what you truly are. Feel the reality of soulmate's presence. Fall asleep in that feeling, and know with absolute certainty that what you have felt as real in imagination must objectify itself in your world, for that is the law, and the law must fulfill itself. The God in you, your own wonderful human imagination, is introducing you to your soulmate right now. As you sit in this room, absorbing these words, the introduction is taking place not in the physical world, but in the world of imagination, which is the only reality. The physical manifestation must follow, for that is the nature of creation. Trust in the law, rest in the promise, and watch and wonder as the miracle of divine union unfolds in your life, revealing to you not only the perfect partner, but the perfect self, the God that you truly are. Consider for a moment your imagination. You may perceive it as a fleeting daydream, a pleasant distraction, or at best, a tool for creativity. But I say unto you, your imagination is the very workshop of creation, the God-given power through which all things are made manifest. But what does it truly mean to trust your imagination? It is not a matter of indulging in idle fantasies or escapism. It is a state of consciousness, a shift in your very being that aligns you with the creative power of the universe. It is about recognizing that your imagination, far from being separate from reality, is the very substance and source of all that you experience. Let us delve deeper into this profound truth. Your outer world, every experience you have, every circumstance you encounter, is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world, your imaginative acts. And this inner world can be radically altered by learning to trust and use your imagination consciously and purposefully. When you understand this, truly understand it, you realize that by carefully choosing and vividly imagining your desired state, you are actively creating a new reality that will unfold in your experience. This understanding is crucial, for it shifts the entire paradigm of how you approach life. No longer are you a helpless being at the mercy of external circumstances, hoping for favorable conditions. You become the active creator of your reality, knowing that as you imagine and feel your desired state as real, the universe must rearrange itself to match this new inner vision. But how, you may ask, can one truly learn to trust their imagination when the outer world seems so solid and unyielding? The answer lies in understanding the true nature of your imagination. For your imagination is not a mere fantasy maker, and your inner visions are not mere daydreams. Your imagination is the very substance of reality, the clay from which all experience is molded. Let us take a moment to truly understand this. Your subconscious mind, which is one with the universal creative force, does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the outer world. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true in your imaginal acts. And once it accepts an idea as true, it proceeds to bring it into manifestation in your physical reality, regardless of how long it takes in clock time or how impossible it may seem given current circumstance. So, when you learn to trust your imagination, when you fall asleep in the absolute conviction that your imagined state is real, you are not engaging in wishful thinking or self-deception. You are actively creating your new reality from within. You are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe, allowing it to work through you and for you to manifest your desires. This, my dear listeners, is the essence of learning to trust your imagination. It is about recognizing that the power to shape your reality lies within you, waiting to be expressed through your conscious imaginal acts. It is about understanding that your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner imaginative acts, which can be radically altered by learning to trust and use your imagination purposefully. Consider the biblical phrase, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This is not a mere poetic expression or a vague spiritual concept. It is a statement of cosmic law, an invitation to recognize the power of your imagination. For what is faith, if not the ability to see and feel as real that which is not yet manifest in the outer world? When you truly trust your imagination, when you feel the reality of your imagined state with every fiber of your being, you are exercising true faith, and in that moment you are changed. The outer manifestation may take time to catch up, but the inner transformation is instantaneous. But let me be clear, learning to trust your imagination is not about forced visualizations or strained affirmations. It is about a total immersion in the feeling of your desired state being real. When you truly embody this practice, you naturally assume the thoughts, feelings, and inner conversations of the person you desire to be. You go to sleep not as the person bound by current circumstances, but as the person who is already living your desired reality in imagination. Let us explore this further with an example. Imagine a person who desires a loving relationship. Their outer reality shows no signs of this relationship manifesting. Now imagine this person deciding to trust their imagination completely. As they lie in bed, they immerse themselves in the feeling of being deeply loved and cherished. They feel the warmth of their imagined partner's embrace, hear loving words whispered in their ear, experience the joy and security of a fulfilling relationship. They allow this feeling of being loved to permeate every cell of their being. They fall asleep in this state, carrying it into their dreams. When they awaken, something has shifted. They may not see immediate external changes in their relationship status, but internally, they are no longer the same person. They have experienced the reality of being loved, and this new self-concept begins to reshape their outer world. In the days and weeks that follow, they find themselves naturally acting with more self-love and confidence. They interact with others from a place of fullness rather than need. They make choices that align with someone who knows they are worthy of love. And as they do so, their outer world begins to reflect this new inner state. They may find themselves attracting more positive attention, forming deeper connections, and eventually manifesting the loving relationship they had imagined. This principle applies to every aspect of your life. Whether you desire success in your career, improvement in your health, enhancement of your financial situation, or any other change, the key is to trust your imagination completely. Feel the reality of being the person who has what you want. Fall asleep in that state, knowing that as you do so, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind that must grow into your outer reality. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, can simply imagining a different reality really make such a difference? Surely we must deal with the facts of our lives. And to this I say, what you call facts are merely the fruits of past imaginal acts. In the realm of consciousness where all creation takes place, there is only the eternal now. By learning to trust your imagination and living from your desired state in your mind's eye, you can indeed reshape your entire future. For you are planting a seed of a new self-concept that will inevitably grow into manifestation. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness, your imagination, that gives life to your experiences. When you focus on unwanted circumstances, you are breathing life into a reality you do not desire. But when you learn to trust your imagination and live from your desired state mentally, you are setting in motion a series of events that must culminate in the outer expression of this new inner reality. This, my dear friends, is the true secret to mastering your life. It is about aligning your entire being with a new concept of self, recognizing that this new self-concept is seeking expression through you and allowing it to flow into your experience through the power of your focused imagination and unwavering trust in its reality. But let me warn you, learning to trust your imagination is not always an easy task. The old habits of doubting your inner visions, of letting your internal state be dictated by external conditions, are deeply ingrained. As you lie in bed, attempting to immerse yourself in your imagined reality, the voice of your rational mind may try to convince you that you're fooling yourself, that you must face reality. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to the feeling of your imagined state. For the war is not won by battling against what you don't want, but by persistently embodying what you do want. This persistence, this unwavering commitment to trusting your imagination in the face of contrary evidence, is what allows you to truly transform your life. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're trying to listen to a particular station, you don't focus on eliminating all the other stations. You simply tune into the frequency you desire. In the same way, you don't need to fight against your current reality or forcefully push away unwanted conditions. You simply need to tune yourself to the frequency of your desired state, to align your entire consciousness with the person who is already living your ideal life in imagination. This tuning is done through your focused imagination and your ability to generate and maintain the feeling of your desired state being real. Your imagination is the dial that allows you to tune into different frequencies of experience. As you use your imagination to fully embody your desired state, as you feel the reality of being this version of yourself, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, allowing the corresponding experiences to flow into your life. But remember, my friends, while the inner transformation can occur in an instant, as you learn to trust your imagination, the full manifestation in your outer world may take time. The seed planted by your imaginal act will grow, but it must go through its natural stages of development. Do not be discouraged if you do not see immediate dramatic changes in your external circumstances. Know that the moment you succeeded in fully embodying your desired state in imagination, change became inevitable. As you persist in maintaining your imagined state in your daily life, you will find that your perception of yourself and your world begins to shift. What once seemed like insurmountable obstacles now appear as opportunities for growth. Challenges become stepping stones to success. You begin to see yourself as the empowered, accomplished being you imagined yourself to be. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Neville, how can I ensure that I maintain my trust in my imagination? How can I prevent falling back into old patterns of thinking and feeling when confronted with unchanged circumstances? And to this I say, the power of your imagination lies not just in the intensity of the experience, but in the knowing it brings. Once you have experienced the reality of your desired state in imagination, You have tasted the truth of your divine nature. This knowing becomes an anchor, a reference point to which you can always return. In the days and weeks that follow as you begin this practice of trusting your imagination, you may face moments of doubt or challenge when confronted with seemingly unchanged circumstances. In these moments, recall the feeling of your imagined state. Remember the reality of being the person who is already living your ideal life. Let that memory, that knowing guide you back to your desired state of being. For having experienced it once in imagination, you can again sit again and again, each time strengthening your new self-concept. The key is to make your imaginal experience as real and vivid as possible. Engage all your senses. As you lie in bed, preparing for sleep, see yourself as the person who is already living your ideal life. Hear the sounds associated with your success. Feel the textures of your new reality. Smell the sense of your achieved desires. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the fulfillment of being this version of yourself. Make it so real that your rational mind cannot distinguish between this imaginal act and physical reality. But here's a crucial point, my friends. The goal is not to imagine specific events or circumstances. The goal is to capture and embody the essence of your desired state of being. For it is this state of being that is the true attractor of your experiences. Let me illustrate this with an example. Instead of imagining a specific job offer or a particular sum of money, capture the feeling of being successful and financially abundant. Feel security, the freedom, the joy that comes with this state. See yourself moving through life with the confidence and ease of someone who is truly successful and abundant. By focusing on the state of being rather than specific outcomes, you allow the universe to bring your desires to you in ways that might far exceed your specific imaginings. You open yourself to possibilities beyond what your current mindset can conceive. This is the true power of trusting your imagination. As you practice this, you may find that your outer world begins to shift in subtle ways. Perhaps you start to feel more confident and empowered. Or you find yourself naturally making choices that align with your imagined state. Or opportunities that resonate with your new self-concept seem to appear out of nowhere. These are all signs that your inner transformation, born of trusting your imagination, is creating ripples in your outer reality. Don't discount these small changes. Celebrate them. See them as confirmation that the law is working, that your imagined state is taking root. But don't become attached to them or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from your imagined state, trusting in the power of your imagination to bring about even greater changes. As you persist in this practice, larger changes will begin to manifest. You may find yourself naturally attracting experiences that align with your new self-concept. You may notice that your relationships improve, that your career takes off, that your health flourishes. And as you continue to maintain your trust in your imagination, you'll discover that life becomes an exciting adventure of ever-expanding possibilities. But remember, the outer manifestation is not the ultimate goal. The goal is a state of being from which all desired experiences naturally flow. This is a crucial point, my friends. When you've truly learned to trust your imagination, when you're fully living from your imagined state, you no longer need external conditions to confirm your state. You're already whole, already complete in your knowing that you are the person you've imagined yourself to be. And paradoxically, it's in this state of inner assurance that you're most likely to experience a life that reflects your ideal self-concept. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do things in the physical world to bring about change? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process, but it's inspired action, not anxious doing. When you're living from your imagined state, ideas and opportunities will naturally present themselves to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions. These actions won't feel like struggle or effort. They'll feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. They will be the natural outgrowth of your new state of being, born from your trust in your imagination. This is the difference between trying to make things happen and allowing them to happen. When you're trying to force change, actions feel stressful, born out of fear and reaction to circumstances. When you're truly embodying your imagined state, actions flow naturally from your aligned state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly how to bring about the manifestation of your desires. Consider the example of a seed growing into a mighty oak tree. The seed doesn't strain to become a tree. It doesn't force itself to grow. It simply unfolds naturally, expressing its innate potential. You, my dear listeners, are no different. When you learn to trust your imagination, you allow your life to unfold naturally and beautifully, expressing the infinite potential that is your birthright. But let me be clear, this state of allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate and focused embodiment of your desired state. It requires faith, not blind faith in external forces, but faith in the creative power of your imagination and your ability to shape your reality through your mental images. This faith is not about believing that things will change someday in the future. It's about knowing that you are who you desire to be now, in this very moment, in your imagination, and that your outer world must inevitably conform to this new inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in living from your imagined state, you'll begin to see evidence of your transformation manifesting in your outer world. These signs may start small, a newfound confidence in a situation that would have previously intimidated you, a chance encounter that leads to an unexpected opportunity, a sudden insight that changes everything. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner transformation, born of trusting your imagination, is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full realization of the life you are creating in your mind's eye. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address a common concern that arises when people first encounter this teaching. Many worry that trusting their imagination might lead to a disconnect from reality or irresponsible behavior. But I assure you, my friends, the opposite is true. When you truly understand the principle of trusting your imagination, you realize that you are not separate from your world. As you elevate your own consciousness by living from your imagined state, you are elevating the consciousness of all. Your personal transformation, far from disconnecting you from reality, actually expands the field of possibilities for all. Moreover, when you are coming from a place of living in your imagined state, you naturally have more to give to others. You become a beacon of possibility, a living example of the power of imagination to reshape reality. Your transformation creates a ripple effect, touching the lives of everyone you encounter with your newfound energy, confidence, and joy. This is the true gift of learning to trust your imagination. It's not just about improving your individual life, although that will happen. It's about aligning yourself with the fundamental nature of the universe, which is boundless potential and perpetual creation. It's about recognizing your own divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully through you. In this state of alignment, of living from your imagined state, you become a channel for the most beautiful expressions of life. Ideas flow to you effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves naturally. The right people and circumstances appear in your life at the perfect time. This is the magic of living from your transformed state of being, born from your unwavering trust in your imagination. But remember, this magic is not something external to you. It's not some cosmic force that you need to appease or manipulate. It is the natural expression of your own consciousness. When it's aligned with the truth of your being, you are the power. You are the magic. You are the one who has transformed yourself through the trust in your imagination. As we draw our time together to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought. The principle we've explored tonight, learn to trust your imagination, is not just a technique for personal development. It's about recognizing your true nature as a divine creative being. It's about aligning your entire being with the fundamental truth of who you are and allowing your grandest expression to flow through you. When you live from this understanding, everything changes. The world becomes a friendly place filled with infinite possibilities. You no longer see yourself as a small, separate being struggling against external forces. Instead, you recognize yourself as the author of your own life story, the creator of your own thriving reality. In this state, there's no need to fear the future or doubt your ability to create the life you desire. For you understand that you are the source of all creation in your experience. Your job is simply to maintain your imagined state, to live from that transformed consciousness, and to allow the universe to allow. So, my dear friends, as you leave here tonight, I urge you to embrace this principle with all your heart. Don't see it as a technique to be applied occasionally, but as a way of life to be lived continuously. Use your mighty imagination to immerse yourself fully in your desired state of being. Feel the naturalness of being the empowered divine being you truly are. Live from this state, persist in this knowing, and watch as your world rearranges itself to match your inner vision. Remember, you are not a limited being struggling to improve. You are the infinite consciousness choosing to experience growth and transformation from this particular vantage point. Your imagination is the tool through which you shape your experience. Use it wisely with the awareness of your true nature and the responsibility that comes with it. Go forth and create the fulfilling, joyous life that is your birthright, knowing that with each imaginal act, each moment of trust in your imagination, you are aligning more fully with the truth of limitless nature.